I hope you can see my screen now. Okay. And the way how I think I will be doing is, let me make it full screen. Okay. I guess you can still see my screen. So this is kind of introduction to DevOps and AWS Cloud. Okay. So this is very basic. As introduction, I will actually take you from the journey from zero. And in fact, you can say -1 and kind of explain you what this field is, what are the major technologies, what are the opportunities you have, how can you succeed in this field. Okay. So this is kind of my brief profile. So in fact, instead of me talking about my brief, I think I will probably share my LinkedIn. So this is my LinkedIn where you can find all the details about me. Okay, so this is, yeah, this is my LinkedIn profile. So I am working as a educator, as a solutions architect and teacher. Okay, in DevOps. Okay, and I started my journey actually as a software engineer, as a software developer. I worked previously in the Development Bank of Singapore. Before that, I worked for American Express. Then I worked for a startup. Then I worked for Coding Dojo, which is like a coding boot camp. There I was working as a lead instructor, and Emmanuel was working with me. So this is kind of my journey as like starting my career in IT. But I had a very formal starting. I did my all education in computer science and everything. So my journey was a bit more formalized and more structured. But for most of you who are not coming from that background, you can still get started. How? That we will see in this short agenda. Okay. So I work as educator, consultant, and also solution architect. So this is kind of the short agenda that we have for today. Okay. So the agenda is that, we'll talk about first DevOps. Okay. What is DevOps? Why it is popular? And, what do engineers actually do as a DevOps engineer? What are skills you need? So this will kind of clear you a lot of doubts that, okay, it's not such a rocket science. Actually, anyone can get started with their determination if they're ready to learn. Okay. And after that, we will go ahead and talk about some web applications. How do you deploy application? If time permits, we will also have a look on, kind of deploying a simple web application, a server kind of, okay, very, very basic that any one of you can do right here, right today with me. Okay. Then we will, if time permits, we'll go in depth of some of the technologies, like what is the use of one technology component in DevOps. Okay. So this is kind of the short agenda that we have for today. Okay. My screen is in full right now, so I will not be able to see your chat. I will come back and answer some of those questions. Okay. So question is, what is DevOps? So if you have a bit of a, kind of background of engineering, or you are into IT, maybe in any role, not necessarily developer or engineer, or as kind of just a support IT tech support person, then you know that, there are a lot of tools, a lot of softwares, a lot of systems which actually power the internet that we see. Okay. So the applications that we use, maybe it is mobile application or web applications. All of these applications have, multi-tier stacks, so normally it could be single stack, or, it could be multiple stack, multi-tier application, that all you can see. So these are a lot of the tools which power actually developers to run their softwares, run their applications properly. Okay. So you can kind of recognize some of them, like kind of Amazon Web Services, GitHub, if you are in touch of, IT world. Otherwise, no worries. We'll go and talk about DevOps. Okay. So, forget DevOps first. I think all of you understand how a car is made, right? Even if you're not from software engineering background, if I ask you, if, how do you think a car is made? Okay. Then I think you would say that, okay, people, like business people, the people who design the machines, automobile engineers, they would come together, okay, and they will start planning. And that planning will first start from the business side, that, okay, what kind of the car is needed in the market? Should it be SUV, or should it be, hatchback? And based on that decision, that comes out to, kind of engineering department, that business needs to build a car of this model in this price range. It should have these features. So once that planning is done, that is your first part. You see the computer. So kind of think that this is kind of designing phase. In this design phase, engineers will sit and design the things that, okay, it should have this big seat, this should be the color, the, testing should be of this size, it should have this much cc of engine. That decision is made, and they start designing first on, kind of software. They don't go and manufacture the thing first, they design the thing first, on computer. It gets approved, then actually machines get started, and you can see that these are the robots which are assembling the different components of the car. And finally a car is built. Then you can see that finally someone is there to test the car. Is the car running fine? Is the engine efficient? Is the safety measures good? Once that is done, then finally the car is packed and it is, kind of distributed. It is put into kind of distribution channel and it goes to the customer. So similar, how do you build a car? You first make a plan, you design, then you kind of start building, then you test and deploy. The same thing happens in software world as well. Okay. So if you see any kind of applications have particularly two parts, development and operations. Okay. Kind of think that, okay, making the car is one thing. Now, once you have purchased the car, okay, as a customer, maintaining that, running that is another thing, right? So building was the responsibility of the manufacturing company. It could be Toyota, BMW, any company. But once it is sold, you are essentially the primary person running this, keeping everything in check, any issues, getting it resolved. So this is kind of operations. Think from the same perspective as a software. When a software is going to get created, first is the planning part. You plan the software, what the software needs, what kind of database it needs. Does the data need to be like multi-AZ? Should it be kind of in different regions? What should be the size of database? Should it be 10 GB, 100 GB, or maybe few terabytes? So these kind of planning you make, and then developers start developing this. Okay, you create, you verify if this is good or not. This is where testing happens, right? So when you build a car, you tested the car. Is the engine efficient or not? Same way you will test, is this code efficient or not? Does this code have any security issues, right? Does this code, take a lot of time to execute? Is it like not efficient? Is there memory leakage? So a lot of these testings are done. Once that is done, you package the software in the sense that, okay, I'm going to launch this software now. And then you will release that. You have a lot of configurations happening. Once that is put in production, you monitor this application. How? The same way when you bought a car, you monitor. Is there any sound? Is there any issue in the engine? Okay. Is the engine getting overheated? Those monitoring, the way you monitor your car, you monitor your software, right? So how would you monitor? For example, let's say if your software application is running slow, other issue could be that, you saw that, suddenly your application stops working. People are complaining that this site is down. So these are some of the kind of signals you can say that you monitor. If monitoring goes well, then you say, okay, software is running good. So you see, it's kind of the whole cycle, right? Building the car and then running the car, building the software and running the software. So building takes planning, creation, development, testing, and operations part takes, kind of packaging, deployment, configuration, and monitoring. This loop is called infinite loop of DevOps. Okay. And this has no end. You plan, you build, you run. Again, a new feature comes from business. You plan, you build, you run. So this keeps happening, keeps happening. until you decide that, okay, this software is no more needed. You go ahead and end the project. It's end of the plan. Okay. So this is kind of introduction to DevOps. Okay. What DevOps means. So this is where DevOps comes in picture in every step that you see. Developers are more focused on this part, creation and testing part. The people who are from business side, they could be more involved in planning. Okay. And when technical planning is happening, developers will be involved, operations people will be involved. But when it is packaged and sent, then it is the ops people who are more, involved in the overall process. So this is kind of an infinite loop I am talking about. Okay. So now I will take a pause and I will see if there are any questions. Okay. So yes, so there are two questions. Okay. So um, so the question is that what kind of programming language you need to, get into DevOps. So actually, you don't need to actually learn programming a lot. You don't need to actually, learn a lot of stacks like Django stack, mean stack, modern stack. Your job is to not, develop. You see, right? I was talking about the left side. When you are a customer, okay, or the people who are running the car, you are not that involved in the, you are not at all involved in the building process, right? In this case as well, writing the code is not your job. That job is with the developers. Developers write the code, they will give you the code. Your job primarily starts when this testing is done. Kind of packaging, releasing, testing, beta testing, dynamic testing, static testing, testing pipelines, those testing, and then putting this in server, then making sure it runs fine, then making sure this application does not get any trouble. When it gets trouble, you know it immediately, you fix them. This is where you get involved. Okay. So think that your more involvement is on the right side of, that is on the ops side. But that doesn't mean you are not at all involved in dev. You are kind of still involved. For example, so let's say, developers are writing a code, okay? And there they need your guidance that, okay, are we going to run this on a server, or we are going to run this on serverless, or we are going to put this in containers. Okay, don't worry about these technical terms. I will come to that. Just think that these are 2-3 different ways of running the same code. Okay. In this case, okay, in such a case, how would you do that? Right. So this is the primary questions for us. So those questions are to be answered by you. So you get involved there as well. Okay. So I hope I have answered this question. Okay. So yeah, so in fact, this question answers, this diagram answers your question actually. So you see, DevOps is involved in all of this process, development, testing for quality assurance and operations as well. In 3 of them, DevOps gets involved, but your major focus is on the operations part. Okay. So this is kind of a Venn diagram. It shows how you work. So DevOps is the role which works with everyone. In fact, you will be working with even the business people. You will be saying that, okay, if we want to make this application, respond in, let's say, 0.1 seconds, then I need a server with, let's say, 8 gigs of RAM. Business people will say that, okay, we don't have that much money. We cannot afford that. So you are in fact talking to them as well, talking to, making the cost estimates, which, kind of becomes a major issue for enterprises. So kind of you work with everyone actually. Okay. So now the question comes, what makes DevOps so demanding? Okay. Right now there is huge demand for DevOps, especially after COVID. There is huge shift to adopt cloud. Okay. Adopt cloud, adopt DevOps, primarily, because of these are the primary reasons which I can kind of vouch for. One thing is it directly improves your innovation and productivity. How? See this loop once. If you are able to develop the application, but not release the application fastly, your business will be running slow, right? You will not be able to innovate fast. You will not be able to deliver the product fast. And right now, the world has huge competition. So the company which releases software fastly, they will have dominance in the market. So for this reason, DevOps helps you to reduce this time of delivery. And since, again, look on this, since you are putting someone who is experts into this, experts in testing, packaging, deploying, monitoring, you are kind of making your developers free from this headache. Developers get a free flow that, okay, I just need to build a software with the guidance of these folks from ops, and we just have to build it and give it to them. Their job is to run it. So it kind of increases the productivity and reduces the cost. Okay. And another thing is, since you are doing everything in a loop, any issues which come, you are able to monitor them very fastly. You say that, okay, in this particular code, this particular API, this particular database is responding slow. Then you immediately inform this to developers and you say that, okay, you need to implement cache in your application because a lot of users are requesting for this particular feature, and this feature needs this particular support. So you see, you are actually kind of reducing the time to kind of fix any issues. And because of everything is automated, so this gives very stable code. Whatever you do, that works. It's not like someone going and doing things manually. Everything is automated. And if anything is automated, it happens in the same fashion all the time. And since it happens in the same fashion, okay, there are no chance of human errors, right? So these are the primary reasons DevOps, kind of brings a huge advantage to any company which are able to adopt it properly. Unfortunately, hardly 20-25% of the companies are in fact using DevOps, and only few percent are actually able to use it properly. So there's a huge scope of growth. There's a huge scope where people like you can come forward and help the businesses, in turn help the society, help the world. Okay, so this is where DevOps comes in picture. So you may think that, okay, this is very needed, this is a good field. What do I do actually? So you can see the picture. This is how generally, kind of in a big companies, there is kind of a war room where, people from ops, they sit there, they monitor the things. This is how it looks like. So what they do, they will, kind of, if it is using Docker-based application, they will be using, kind of containerization. Okay, there are a few technical terms coming here. I will try to explain them later. Okay. So, they will be kind of building the pipeline. What is pipeline? So pipeline is kind of kind of think like a number of steps. When you get a code, what happens? You will take the code, you will test code is good or not good. If it is good, you say next. Okay, launch this code. So these steps, you will be writing those steps, right? Because developer's job has ended here, sort of. Okay, once that job is ended, who will make sure all of these things happen one by one? That is what you will be doing if you become a DevOps engineer. Okay. Another thing is maintain the environment. So your application is running. Let's say thousands of users are accessing this. If it is like a popular application, some news portal, social media site like Twitter, like Facebook, you have millions of users coming. Then how would you ensure that application does not go down? Okay. If, for example, Twitter, okay, since Elon Musk has taken over, they have fired almost, I think, 8% of their employees. Facebook hired yesterday 13% of their employees. Who will ensure that still servers run smoothly. This is where they build the whole server, the whole platform, the whole pipeline automated, so robust, so stable that even if there is no one, Twitter runs. Even if everyone is fired, kind of, Facebook still runs. This is what DevOps engineers do. Okay. And don't think that, DevOps engineers are always sitting and watching on the screen. No, that doesn't happen that way. In some cases, there are like people in rotation to watch the things, but it's not like you always keep watching what is happening, what is going wrong. Okay. It's not like that. So, if kind of everything is going well, then your life is good. But if something is not good, not running fine, then this is your job. Find the issue. And if it is on your end, for example, a server is overutilized, your job, go and fix it. If you think it is something to do with the code, then you'll kind of have a different mechanism. You can kind of shift the users to old version. If you don't have old version, maybe you can kind of show some temporary error there. Don't stop the application and immediately inform the developers, fix this issue immediately, right? So this is your role is very critical actually, because you are actually dealing the thing, which is, kind of handling all the live users, all the businesses. Think if Amazon.com goes down for, let's say, an hour, forget an hour, a minute, it will kind of, cause Amazon loss of thousands of orders, or maybe hundreds of thousands of orders, right? Is that high? Okay. So this is what DevOps engineers do. Okay. So I don't see any questions so far. So I will continue. If you want to ask any question, chat is the best way you can ask me. Okay. Because in the interest of time, we have to keep moving because we started late as well. So we have to compensate that. Okay. So you felt, okay, good. We are needed. We are bringing a lot of value in the world, a lot of value to the companies. I understand what I need to do. But then you think, okay, what do I need to learn for this? So these are few major things that you need to get into. These are pretty high level. Okay. I'm not talking about tools right now. If time permits, I will. But the thing is, you talk about servers, cloud, and all the infrastructure. Okay. So kind of think like an application is running. So it runs on some kind of a computer, right? Server is a computer. So you need to become expert in that, okay, how many computers you need, how much is the capacity, how to, start a computer. I'm saying computer, but don't take the word computer. Actually, the right word is server. Okay. But servers are a form of a computer only. Okay. Just for your basic understanding. Then you need to learn a lot of tools and technologies so that you can still work with those servers. Okay. Because managing those servers is not easy, right? You have a server which is handling, let's say, millions of users, right? You cannot go and just restart the server. You can't do that. Okay. Then another thing is security. Your application is running. It is storing everything in database. So your job is to ensure your data remains safe. Okay. Your infrastructure remains safe. No one is able to get into your database. Okay. No one is able to access into your server. And then is your communication. That is needed everywhere, but more in DevOps because you communicate with everyone. You communicate with developers, you communicate with business folks, you communicate with testers, everyone. Okay, so these are the skills that are needed. So I hope that by now you're very clear what is DevOps. Okay, so DevOps is a mindset, it's an approach to deliver software, to build the software. Okay, one approach was you take the software, you build it, and someone deploys this. DevOps says that no, automate everything, make everything faster, make everything a standard. Okay, monitor everything, inform any issues. So those are the primary things DevOps talks about. Okay, so DevOps is not a tool. DevOps is not kind of a degree well, you can, some people give degrees, but actually primary thing is DevOps is a mindset, a culture, that how do you deliver a software fastly, properly, in efficient manner. Any questions coming? Okay. Okay. So, and also we talked about why it is needed, what all things you need to learn for this, okay, and what DevOps engineers actually do, okay. So now I'm going to talk about any questions. I think someone is trying to speak anything.
Yeah, I have a question. Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. My question is this, DevOps. Like, for example, myself, I'm a geologist by profession, but I'm thinking of switching career to DevOps or data analyst. So I'm here to take my decision. That's why I joined this class, so that I will exposed. Then I'll be able to take my decision, whether DevOps or data analyst. Now, I don't have knowledge of programming. I don't have IT knowledge, but I want to switch to either DevOps or data analyst. Now, my concern is this. I've been going through different job sites. I discovered that 99% of employers, they don't give opportunities to entry level, to people who are just starting up. They will tell you must have 6 years experience, 5 years experience, 4 years experience in this and that and that. So how do we that are just coming up, how do we survive in this case? How do we pick up and survive and get a job at the end of the day? That's my question. Then also, if one is to learn, I want to develop myself in DevOps, how long will it take me? If I devote 4 hours per day to DevOps, how many months will it take me before I'll be very, very good at it and be able to be employed to handle jobs?
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Great question, Isaac. I think, oh, sorry, Ibimo.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah,
more.
sure. Okay, so I think your question is very right and relevant. I think all the attendees here are kind of having are in the same boat. They all are kind of thinking to switch their career, maybe in DevOps or something else. They're still kind of gauging how difficult it is. Is it easy to get in and all? So in fact, in short, I would say that, it is, yes, it is very easy for anyone to get in. But when I say very easy, it's not like a cakewalk. Okay. Easy only for the people who are ready to devote and work. For example, you say that you are ready to devote 4 hours per day. That's kind of a commendable statement you made, right? So if, in my opinion, if someone is able to devote that much amount of time on regular basis, okay, then anyone can become a kind of, they can start their DevOps journey or cloud engineer journey in approximately 3 to 4 months of time. Okay, given you are consistent, you are under guidance, you are spending your time on learning right technologies. Okay, because if you go and talk about DevOps, there are like thousands of tools in DevOps. Okay, no one can learn everything, no one can master everything. So only learn those things which are most needed, what you're targeting for. So the low hanging fruit in the sense. Okay, so simple answer, yes, given 4 hours consistently under right guidance, you can get started. I think in 4 months you can crack any basic DevOps jobs interviews. Okay, fast. Second part of
Okay,
your,
okay. Also, sir, okay. I sorry to cut you. Let me also ship this in. Without a mentor, one cannot succeed. That is one thing I know also. I actually personally myself, I want you to be my mentor. Thank you very much.
definitely, sure. In fact, I would be coming and talking about these things maybe at the end of this session. But I think quickly I can tell you definitely I am there. In fact, my passion and my kind of devotion is for teaching and to help people like you, like anyone else, to get started in their journey. So definitely I'm there to kind of guide in any manner that I can do. Okay, so please, I think we will get in touch regarding that. In fact, I'm going to share my way, email and all, how you can connect. But anyway, I think, yeah, coming back to the second part of your question, one of your question was that, okay, I can devote this and 4 months, I am ready for interviews. Or let's say 6 months, safer side. 6 months, you are ready for interview. Your second question was that all, all job, portals kind of give you 2 years experience, 5 years experience. Everyone wants to hire someone from experience. Okay, let me ask you this. Everyone starts somewhere from zero, right? When the person whom you see is having 5 years of experience, 5 years of back, the person had 0 years of experience, right? Even a few years back, I would have 0 years of experience, right? But how did I start? Someone gave me opportunity. Somewhere I proved myself that even though I'm 0 years as a number in experience, still I carry the skill that you need. So actually in the world, people are looking for a skill. Generally, people with experience have gained the experience. They know. So people want to hire people with experience. But if you can prove you're a metal that I don't have formal experience, but still I know the skill, take an interview, take a test, I will crack it. Then you can get it. You should have that much confidence on yourself, then you can actually crack it. So my idea would be few things that when you are learning, build your portfolio. So, when I teach actually in my classes, I help students build their portfolio of 5, 6 projects, different versions of project, working in groups, working individually. Pick an application, deploy everything in one stack, two a stack, three a stack. So while working this, you get so much experience that you can beat any experienced person as well. Okay. So key to that answer is that is your skill. Gain a skill, prove it to your interviewers. You will probably get it. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think in the interest of time, I will continue on. Okay. So the last, this part is how do you deploy your application then? Okay. Because this is the major thing that you do. You do monitoring, you do this, that, but deploying is the major thing. Okay. So there are different ways how you deploy the things. Okay. Now I'm going kind of in the first level of technical things of DevOps. So far, no technical thing was there. Okay. So what happens is you take the code. Okay. For example, okay, how do you deploy a, let's say, a car? Okay. Once the car is out, okay, from let's say from the factory, okay, the final testing happens, a road test happens, then actually you give to your customer, you put sensors, you do everything, you kind of put oil, engine, everything, you kind of give the key, start the car. Same way, what happens is here, you take the code, you test the code, then you put this in a server. Okay. And in the server, there are multiple, variations, technologies, stacks. Based on the type of the application, you choose one of them and deploy this. Okay. So the first and the basic one is bare metal servers, the very basic server. Okay. This server is like your real machine. Okay. It will have real hardware, real CPUs, real RAM. You install your OS yourself. You install network card, drivers. Then you start the server and you can serve an application with that. Big corporations do use this. Okay. So this is one way of doing it. The next way is the virtualization. There you don't have the server actually of your own. Okay. But actually you get it from some cloud provider, for example, AWS. AWS has a big server. You go and take a small part of it, virtualized part of it, okay? And you use that. You can, in fact, virtualize your own computer as well. That is fine. But in terms of DevOps, we talk about coming from some virtualization software, okay? And you use that, you install your dependencies, libraries, you launch your application, okay? So these are few things which you will be learning, okay? After the virtualization, okay, so I had kind of prepared a lab here that I would kind of show you kind of the virtualization, how to, create a virtualized application, run this. Uh, I have just few minutes of time left, so I will still kind of give you the kind of a basic idea. Okay, there is one question. What is the relationship between DevOps and product development? Okay, so I think the question, I think the perspective of this question is, what is difference between maybe a DevOps engineer and product developer, the software engineers. So product development, software engineers do. Okay, DevOps engineers don't actually develop, but their job is more into deployment and monitoring, orchestration. Okay, so relationship between them is very cohesive. They work a lot of the time together. Okay, and depending on the maturity of the application, okay, let's say application is in very initial stage, they will be working a lot, talking a lot together, planning everything. And after that, once the application is developed, framework is decided, version is decided, is it bare metal or containerized application decided, then I think DevOps engineers just write the standard pipeline. This, take the code, test the code, deploy the code, monitor the code. These stages are written, and all the code coming from DevOps developers, they pass through these stages and get deployed. Okay, so relationship between them is very cohesive, and they work together for final success of the software or the product or the company. Okay, so I will not, I think, be able to show you the lab. Okay, but I think what I can show you, in fact, all of you will be able to probably do this, that go ahead, all of you, and start kind of your create your AWS account. Okay, and the way how it is very easy, you go and AWS create account. Okay, you go ahead and create the account. Okay, this is the button, you create an account. And let me tell you, anyone can create an account for 1 year. One server remains free for you. Okay, I will show you how to create a server. It is very easy. You can find tons of videos. Okay, for example, you can search create, okay, create server in AWS. Just search this and you will find a lot of links, guide coming. Okay, and you can watch this guide, follow the steps, create your own server. Okay, very, very basic. Like creating an Apache server with database. Follow these steps. You can also, kind of see the videos. So for example, you can see this video, running your first web server in AWS. So you can watch this video YouTube, and you can just follow the video, right? So this is actually very easy to get started. Okay. So in fact, the way how you could do this is to create the account. Everyone can create the account, I believe.
Okay, sorry, I have a question about this AWS.
Sorry?
Hello, yeah, sir. Yeah. Hope there's a free version of it.
Yeah. So what I'm showing you right now, it is free for 1 year.
1 year. Okay, okay. Okay. Then is it like now there's what I know of, they call VPS, like that forest traders can use, and they can host your listing while you are offline. Trade can be going on like a visual listing. Can it be run also on AWS? Mm-hmm. Is it similar?
Yeah, so I think you're talking about something a bit different thing. For now, I think if you are just starting your career in DevOps, don't worry about that thing. Okay. First, just focus on creating the server, because VPC, VPN, those things come layer by layer. They are a bit more difficult to understand. I will explain it. So what I can show you right now.
Thank you.
So this is how you create a server. In fact, let me show you this one of this. This is Africa demo. Okay, this video is being recorded. You can watch on YouTube. There are dozens of them. Give it any name. Select the server type, OS. This is Ubuntu. And after that, leave everything as standard. Okay. Okay. Follow any video. You will be able to select any of them. Otherwise, just pass this. Just leave everything as it is. Okay. When you're creating, just allow this kind of, okay. You can get to know about this. This is kind of a security group, which determines which traffics are allowed, who can go and request anything from server. Okay. Don't worry about it right now. I'm just showing you how to create a server. Okay. And after this, you just go and click launch server. Okay. So this server is being launched. So let's see, once the server gets launched, then I will show you how to work on this. Okay. And then another thing is containers. Okay. So when you are running a server, you install libraries. Okay. For example, let's say when you are in, you have a phone, Android phone, you install mobile apps, right? Those apps actually are kind of source code who run and give you some information. Similar to that, softwares depend on some other software. Okay. Kind of libraries they are called. Those libraries you install yourself in server. Containers are a way that you don't have to install on servers. They will automatically get installed in a small version of the server. That is called containers. Okay. This is kind of a virtualized software, another level of virtualization. Okay. Okay. So this server is ready. So I'm kind of going to show you that. You click on this. Okay. And you see this EC2 instance connect. You can click on this and probably it should connect. Okay. You see it is connecting. So you actually created a server in AWS. Now you are connecting to the server. Now you can see you are connected to the server. So this is the server where you are able to see any information. It is, you can give it some instruction. It will show you those instructions result. Okay. So you created your first server right away, right? So this is what I was talking about, a virtualized software, virtualized server, sorry. Okay. Now, what can you do on this server? So I'm going to actually show you a small example. So this is kind of the link that all of you can actually follow. Okay. This is just few commands which I had created once. I will show you right now. Okay. So you see these 3 lines? These 3 lines install, there is a web server called Apache. Okay, this is the most popular web server. When you run this command, first 3 commands, okay, this will install Apache on your computer, on your server actually. Okay, so this is getting those dependencies, those libraries into your server. Okay, so with this, first step will be done, that web server is in your computer. Okay, and the next thing after that is, so once this gets installed, okay, so this got installed. So let me open this IP address and show you. You see, on this IP address, this application is running now. Okay, where is this coming from? Okay, so this is actually coming from this particular path. You know, your computer has files, right? Servers also have files. So this is coming from this particular path. You see, index.html. If you know HTML, it is kind of a way to, you know, it's called hypertext markup language. You write information in some tags, and that information is available here. Okay. So if you want to write anything on this, you can actually do that. Okay. So for example, what we can do is we can stop this server. Okay. You see, we told server stop Apache. Apache is the web server and it stopped. Now what you can do is you can actually, I'm typing some command, you will have to learn this. Okay. So I could write, let's say index.html. This is the file. I could write hi Africa. Okay. Okay, just a second. I need to give it sudo. Don't worry about it. Once you learn, you will know what I'm doing. This is just introduction to see, okay, what happens actually. Okay, so I stopped the server. I have taken a file. There I have written Hi Africa. Okay, my time is kind of getting over, but I will still finish this. You see, I created a file, wrote Hi Africa. And now I told server restart. So server will now restart and it will start serving those contents to us. Okay. So you see it. So I started. Now if I refresh this, you'll see Hi Africa coming. Do you see this here? This is file Hi Africa. Okay. What I can do again is I will stop this and I will remove this file and get some other file where you can actually see something happen. Don't worry what is happening. This command is here if you want to try yourself once this webinar is over. Okay. Let me inform. I have to inform someone that I will get a bit late. I'll try to finish this in a few minutes. Okay. So what I did is I have gotten some file from GitHub. GitHub is a place where you store some code. This is where this code is staying. I teach students with this code. I think if Emmanuel is here, he will laugh on me again that I teach whole DevOps with the same code to everyone. Anyway, so let's continue on. Okay. So this is GitHub. This is where you store the source code. The way you store image. Where do you store image? In your computer, right? Same way, code is stored on this GitHub. This is kind of a thing like online storage where you can put your code. So I'm putting my code there. Now what happened? This command, you see, get your static files. How it does? Don't worry, learn. You will know. I got the file. I will restart this again and you will see a beautiful thing. What is this code about? This repository? This is a game. Okay. And you will see that within few minutes, we just took a game and deployed the game on a server. You see? So this is kind of a Dojo Jump. I gave it a name. So you can this is a very funny game. You can just play this. You see? So with this few commands, we are able to take the code of the game from developers and deploy this on EC2 server. You saw how easy it is? Just in few minutes, in few commands, you are able to take a code and deploy the code, right? This is so easy, okay? Okay, so where can you learn Git and GitHub? Best thing is go on YouTube, find Git GitHub Learn, okay? If you want curated link or something, what I can do is I have a presentation on Git and GitHub. Send me your email to me on my LinkedIn. Okay, so let me send you my LinkedIn or something. I will send you this presentation. This can help. Otherwise, I think YouTube is the place where you can learn. But if there is anything, send me a message on this. I will send you this presentation. Okay, probably that should be good enough for you to start. Okay, so this is like a presentation on GitHub. So you can learn all the Git, Okay. Okay, so it will not be possible for me to store email here. Send me message, okay? Because once this meeting finishes, email will be gone. Okay, so this is kind of the very basic of the tools I talked about, okay? Now there are dozens of tools, okay? There are dozens of tools, dozens of software, dozens of, monitoring tools. There's no end. So as you keep learning, you will keep growing, you will get to know all of them. For example, it was Git I was talking about. So Git is something that you should learn. It will help you. How do you store your code? Then how do you deploy the code automatically? Then is something called Docker. How do you build a code which runs anywhere without any issues? That Docker will tell you. Then is Kubernetes. Once you have packaged your code in a container, how do you run that? Then you learn Kubernetes. Okay. So these are some of the tools, technologies that you will learn as you keep going. Okay. Yeah. So this is, I sent my LinkedIn. Okay. I think, okay. Let me see if I have my website or something. Yeah. So this is, okay. So you can contact me through my email, or this is my blog. In fact, I write blog here. You can see answers of some of those questions. These are a bit advanced topics, which I write mostly, but you can find some of those. You can message me on Twitter as well. So all my links you will find here. So don't worry how to contact. I'm here, all here. It's very easy to find me online. So once you're preparing, you can find kind of go on this link, learn. So these are the few kind of resources that I have with me right now, which I can share. But the best thing is everything is available on internet. That is the best part. Internet does not, kind of let you get stopped because of where you are from, what you know. It democratizes the resources to everyone in the world. So use that and learn that. Okay. So this was kind of the basic overview of DevOps. Why DevOps, what it does, what are the benefits, okay, and how someone can get started with their journey in DevOps. Okay. And then finally, I showed you some of the technologies. I showed you how to create a server, and within few commands, how to launch a code, right? So this we covered today. Okay. With this, I will finish my lecture today. I have taken most of the questions which I got, I answered already. In the interest of time, if you have any one or two last question, I can take. Otherwise, you know how to contact me. This is what I tell everyone. Time and technology wait for none. Okay. World is moving so fast. Such a fast-paced innovation is happening. There is no time you can wait. Don't wait. Get learning. If you want to get connected with me, you can get connected with me. LinkedIn I sent. This is my website. You can read my blog. My email is there. And on Twitter or email, any way you want to connect, feel free to reach out to me. I will try to help as much as possible. Okay. So any last questions before we conclude this session?